Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. So I have several lessons all compiled into this video. You're probably wondering what the scribbles are, why did I number these rows, and why are there lines without anything on them? So I'm going to get into that in a second. But first, get your sketchbooks out, especially those of you that have not drawn in a while and you're wondering what can come along to help spark that enthusiasm again. So this is what I like to call my Weekend Warrior Sketchbook Edition. I'm going to be doing a lot of these. You're going to be viewing this on a Saturday, so what better day to do it than, spend the weekend or start the weekend off with some good doodles. Get your minds going, especially if you're artists. Or if you're feeling creative and you don't really know where to start though, get those sketchbooks ready. You can have a ballpoint pen, or you can have a B pencil, an H pencil, whatever you're comfortable with using. And I want you to fill the entire page with small dashed lines, and then I want you to number them. So it's probably looking a little strange for you. You're probably thinking, well, aren't you supposed to draw everything first and then number when you're done? Well, it just depends on how you look at it. Today's lesson is about organization. Okay, it's about cleanliness, and it's about presentation. Me coming from a concept art background for video games and film, the more organized I've been throughout my career, the easier it has been for teams and clients to understand what the heck I'm actually doing. Okay, you want to get the concept out. Anybody can doodle. Okay, my whole channel is dedicated to thumbnailing and getting back into sketching and getting the creative juices flowing. I feel like a lot of people lack the presentation side of showing their art in the best light possible. And it's not just with sketching. It's also with 3D art too. We have 3D artists that can sculpt beautiful sculpts, but all of a sudden their lighting is really bad. So if their lighting is bad, then the team isn't going to be able to trust them putting the models in game engines and having it lit inside there, because they're going to be responsible for that. Well, what your sketchbook page shows the client and shows yourself is that 1, you can self-edit, 2, you're orderly, and 3, you're organized. It's a very good trait to have if you're organized. Less work you have to do later, the more organized you are now. All right, you can see here I'm just taking a standard Bic round stick and I'm putting in some smaller details here. Now I didn't spend too much time on that thumbnail. I'm going to move on to the next one. You see how as I'm moving on, I already have my sections for me, and they're ready. So I'm just going to go on to the next one. Now I'm pretending that a client needs an alien life form for their next game. All right, maybe it's an NPC, or maybe it's a boss character or a boss creature, maybe a pod, and disgusting creatures are born from it. Like, who knows? I want to give the client the absolute best possible silhouettes. All right, so the more orderly I am, the more I can show off these silhouettes. Now, the other thing that this helps with is look at my sketches right now and notice the gap in between each drawing. This gap right here with nothing in it is allowing my eyes to rest between each concept. This is very clean, it's orderly, and it also helps me focus on one design at a time. But I can see the silhouette so much easier now if I simply add some space in here. And also, let's say that I want to go back to an idea and add something to it. Well, guess what? I have enough room for that now. So I'll just get back into that. And, for example, the shape of this creature right here looks like there can be some tentacles coming out. Okay, there's a tentacle. And then maybe there's one in the back here. Add a little bit of chaos. Chaos as in making sure that these tentacles are all flowing and pointing in a different direction. to keep the viewer guessing. It's all about the viewer. Again, me being a concept artist for games, I'm constantly thinking of, hey, if I was playing this game, would I enjoy seeing that creature in the game? Or do I just want to shoot it in the face? Okay, if you're playing a first-person shooter and you just find a beast in the background and you just want to shoot it for points, then is it going to be cool enough to do that, or is it going to be cool enough to look at? So you have to think of all these different factors. Now, I'm not spending a lot of time on tiny little details like every speck of spike and fur and scale and all that stuff. But knowing when to stop is a huge part of keeping your pages clean. So I've done 3 already, and I have my row cut out for me already. Number 4, number 5, number 6. So let's jump to number 6. Let's look at these silhouettes first. So I want to try hard not to repeat those silhouettes. So I'm just going to go to the next one. Now, I've been doing a lot of bulbous poison sac-like shapes, so maybe this one can be long and flat. Okay, that'll be challenging because I'm not doing a spaceship and I'm not doing props. I'm doing a creature. But who's to say that a creature can't be shaped like a rocket with a fin on there? So let's see what happens. I mean, think about the beetles of the world. You know, they have, speaking of beetles, what if I just give it some really cool little front legs here and then maybe 2 in the back? Okay, and then the tail honestly can just be some wings folded in the back, and that's it. Now again, these are thumbnail sketches. They're not supposed to take long. Those of you watching me right now, I just want to take the time and welcome you. If you've strolled into my channel because the algorithm told you to watch me doodle these things, but you've never drawn before and you have no interest in becoming an artist, maybe, just maybe, you got an old steno notepad in your briefcase, or maybe you have an old notebook and you want to doodle something. You know, it's funny, well, it's not really funny, but it's cool when you talk to people that aren't necessarily artists. They don't devote their life to drawing. Every now and then they have this joy of just doodling stuff. We all doodle stuff, regardless if we're artists or not. We've had homework with artwork on it. We've had stuff come in the mail. We've been talking to somebody on the phone and they can't see you, but you're at your dining room table and there's an old envelope on the table, and guess what? There's a pen. What are you doing? You're doodling. So it's this really cool feeling you get when you just have a sketchbook next to you, regardless of how good you are as an artist, and you just start sketching and you feel so free. This is why I do this. This is why I teach this on my channel. I go in depth about thumbnailing and I show the importance of it, because these ideas that you're getting out on paper, I mean, who's to say that one of these you won't pluck into a project 2 or 3 years down the line? You are building your own reference library of critters, and it's something that you should be doing every day, especially if you want to be a creature designer. If you're an aspiring creature designer and character designer for that matter, because it's basically the same thing, then you should definitely get into this habit of thumbnailing like I am and filling these pages up. Okay, so this is our Weekend Warrior edition. The reason I'm starting this series on the weekends is because we tend to rest, yes, on the weekends, but we also kind of tend to forget what we're supposed to be practicing. When it comes to art, and when it comes to doodling and sketching and anything for that matter, it's an ongoing process, because you either love it or you hate it. If you love drawing, if you love painting, if you love sewing and playing the drums, playing ultimate frisbee, whatever it is, you make time for it because you love it. And if it has to happen on the weekend, then it has to happen on the weekend. There have been hundreds and hundreds of Saturday evenings when I could have gone breakdancing at the clubs with my friends, but I decided to stay in and draw. Okay, and it adds up. It really adds up. So I'm not saying that those of you watching right now have to become passionate about thumbnail sketching. No, but this is definitely a practice to get into. To tie in today's lesson again about cleanliness and neatness of your sketchbooks, you are going to thank yourself when you have to search for something later on. Okay, I'm thinking in the future for you all. Hopefully you guys are filling up your sketchbooks this morning or afternoon or evening, and you're going to look back on this in 5 months, 2 weeks, a year, whenever that may be. Hopefully you're going to look back on your doodles and you're going to remember how much fun you had and also the good ideas that just came out. And here's the thing about your thumbnail pages, like the page that I'm doing right now. Not all of your designs are going to be pretty. No, they're not. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to hate most of your designs. And that's totally normal. The thing about thumbnail sketching is that not all the time is our first design the best one. All right, now that is something that was a hard pill to swallow when I was an aspiring concept artist and when I was in high school. Okay, when I'm a teenager and my brain's going and I'm thinking about the future and what I want to be when I grow up, you just want to produce the best stuff as quickly as possible, not putting in any of the preliminary work like thumbnail sketching. It's funny, I'm 44 years old. If I would have told my 18-year-old self, like, hey, you don't have to end up liking the very first sketch you did, and that's not going to be your final. You're going to do 25 other iterations. I'd have stopped myself right there and be like, you're insane. Like, there's no way I'm going to draw 15 different versions of the same thing and then choose one of, like, what is that? After you're doing the process for years and you start to realize, like, oh yeah, your older self is definitely correct now. So this looks like almost like a giant proboscis, but it's not, obviously. By the way, if you hear a lot of noises, like a lot of shuffling of feet, it sounds like my upstairs neighbors are taking the dinosaur to the local park. Like, it's so loud up there, like they're herding sheep. I don't know what's going on, but I think my mic can pretty much block that out, so that's good. All right, here we go. So we got some really good values happening in here on the side. Okay, so let's go over what we are doing tonight. We are talking about being orderly and being organized with your sketches, and we're talking about starting the project as nice as possible. All right, so keeping your page clean, and like you can see right here that I'm mixing black Prismacolor with a ballpoint pen. It's such a fun combo to do. All right, so let's recap on what we were talking about for today's lesson, because we mixed in a couple of the things. So one, we're talking about your organizational skills within your sketchbook, so keeping things nice and neat. Okay, we started with numbering and then putting our ground plane in, which is really important to do. And the second thing we started talking about is making sure that you're drawing on the weekends, making sure that you're utilizing your time as best as possible if you really love drawing and you want to put a lot of effort into it to get better. Again, this is the Weekend Warrior edition, so if you find that you have some time over the weekend, Saturdays, Sundays, and I'm going to be recording another video for Sunday also. I'm going to be doing this every weekend too. Make it a habit to find that time during the weekend to draw. It's like you're exercising your mental muscles. It's no different than waking up early in the morning so that you can go to the gym. Okay, it's the same kind of mindset. So the combo that I'm using here is putting black ballpoint pen down first, and then I'm taking black Prismacolor pencil and I'm putting in some values over top of the ink. And it offers a really neat effect because the ink is not smearing, that is dried already. And then the lines are showing through it as the gradient is lightened up across the body. So it offers a really neat effect. So what I'm doing here is I'm just putting in the dark darks, which is why I love the black Prismacolor. I'm putting in the dark darks right where the cast shadow on the body would be, especially from that flat body in the shell. Another neat little trick, and I've mentioned this a couple times, is if you want to help ground your creations, then darken it near the feet and then fade it up into the body. And then you add a little bit of the cast shadow onto the ground that's going to blend in with a darkened limb. And it offers like a really good attachment, like a finalized attachment. Looks good. There we go. Okay, so if you practice this every day, not just on the weekends, but every day, okay, draw the ground plane in, number your sketches, keep doing that. You're going to teach yourself self-editing, cleanliness, organization, and you're going to feel better about your sketches in general, because you're going to be able to come back to these and appreciate how neat you were when sketching. Now, you don't have to. No, this is just something that you could try, because let's face it, not all sketchbooks are pretty. They don't have to be. You can go in there and scribble all over the place. That could be paint and pastel, like whatever. But I hope this lesson was good. Let me know in the comments below if you have a brand new sketchbook and you're scared to draw in it. It's okay. Do what I just did. Doodle, organize it, and you're going to feel so much better. All right? Thanks, everyone. Peace.